This is Grunt to Groan, sales lessons learned from professional wrestling. Coming to you from the fabulous Delaware Wrestling Thunderdome, I'm your host, Benjamin Burrows.
I am one voice that stands alone. I am one choice to man the throne. Stand guard and take shots, give it all I got. All I got is this microphone. I am
Reach for the sky, boy.
Hey, everybody, this is Billy Gunn.
Hi, this is Glasgow, Delaware Kit Kat.
Hey, it's me, the mouth of the South, Jimmy Hart.
This is the Birdman Coco Beware.
Hey, this is Leo Rush.
In Macho Madness, yeah. Growing, and more seductive than sex.
To me, they are the greatest tag team in the world. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Matt and Nick Jackson, the Young Bucks.
Hey, this is the NWA World's Heavyweight Wrestling Champion, the National Treasure, Nick Holder.
Woo! It's the Nature Boy. Woo!
Hi, I'm the Concrete Rose, Sunny Kiss.
This is Tito Santana, WWE Hall of Famer.
Hey, what's up? It's Tony Schiavone.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome one of the founding fathers of All In, the executive vice president of All Elite, Cody!
And what you gonna do when Hulkamania and the largest arms in the world destroy you?
We never, ever listen. Oh, yeah, never listen to Grunt to Groan with Ben Burrows. No way, man.
And this is Grunt to Groan, sales lessons learned from professional wrestling. I'm your host, Benjamin Burrows, coming to you from the fabulous Delaware Wrestling Thunderdome. And it is a great day to be out selling your products and your services, for you are the great American thunder on which this nation rolls, because nothing happens, and I mean nothing happens, until you sell it. What a beautiful Monday, a great day for us to kick off Grunt to Groan, episode number 46. If you'd like to communicate with me, please do. You can email me at greatamericanthunder@gmail.com. That's greatamericanthunder@gmail.com. If you'd like to advertise on our program, well, please feel free to do so. You can email me for advertising rates on greatamericanthunder@gmail.com. That's greatamericanthunder@gmail.com. Hey, don't forget, you can also pick up the book, Grunt to Groan, Sales Lessons Learned from Professional Wrestling, at barnesandnobles.com, amazon.com, walmart.com. It will make a great holiday gift, and we're getting ready to come up on the holidays. So you're talking about something that could be a great gift for the sales professional in your life. Grunt to Groan, sales lessons learned from professional wrestling. Pick yours up at any of the .coms. Also, we have merchandise that you can pick up on Amazon.com. We've got our Christmas hoodies back online and T-shirts. The Christmas hoodies are the cover of the book. Please check it out, Amazon.com. We'd love for you to pick up one of our holiday hoodies. Again, for the sales professional in your life. These are perfect Christmas gifts, perfect gifts for them. I want to thank our producer, Dave the Ray, for hanging and banging with us today. My staff here at Grunt to Groan, of course, Sunny Thunder and the Sons of Thunder from the Delaware Wrestling Thunderdome. The house where champions are made. They just got a new banner up, says it is the house where champions are made. Congratulations to the Philadelphia Eagles on the big win over the Jets. E-A-G-L-E-S, Eagles. Just poking a little fun. All my friends out there who love football like I love football. Yesterday was a great day. You know, it has been often said in the NFC East that on any given Sunday, when the Eagles win and the Cowboys, the Giants, and the Redskins lose, an angel in heaven gets their wings. It is also said that on any given Sunday, when the Eagles lose and the Redskins, the Giants, and the Cowboys win, an angel in heaven gets head lice. I'm just an old Philadelphia Eagles fan. I've been through a lot of misery with the Eagles, but they are my team. Congratulations to the Eagles on their win over the Jets yesterday. And congratulations to Cody Rhodes, the Young Bucks, Tony Khan, and All Elite Wrestling for a dynamic debut this past Wednesday night on TNT with AEW's Dynamite. It is the first professional wrestling show that I've watched on television from start to finish probably in 20 years. The action was incredible. The storylines were well told. Tony Schiavone, JR, good old JR, Jim Ross in the broadcasting booth. It was an excellent show, and it is a great way to kick off your brand new series. So congratulations to AEW. Now look, I did flip back and forth between AEW and NXT on USA, which is a WWE product. And I'm not knocking Hunter Helmsley in any way, Triple H in any way. I'm not knocking the WWE in any way. But each show was so dramatically different. NXT reminded me of the old studio shows that came out of like Georgia Championship Wrestling, except they had this really weird announcing team. So you had this kind of studio show feel with this announcing team that kept trying to make everything sound so much bigger than it needed to be. And it just didn't jive for me. It just didn't work for me. And then you go to AEW, which had this old WCW feel about it. The house in Washington sold out, fans hanging from the rafters. The announcing team, of course, a Hall of Fame classic, Tony Schiavone and good old JR. To me, there was just no comparison. And if NXT is going to compete, then they're really going to have to up their game. They're going to have to up the production value, and they're going to have to do something with that announcing team. Because it just didn't gel. It just didn't happen. Now, that's my opinion. And I'm just the host of Grunt to Groan, Sales Lessons Learned from Professional Wrestling. I'm not considered one of the boys. I'm not behind the scenes. Man, I don't even get on the media conference calls, which, I've been thinking this past week I probably should. I was listening to Dave LaGreca and Bully Ray and the gang from Busted Open, and I actually think it was Tommy Dreamer and Bully Ray was hosting the show, and they were saying that there was a media call on Wednesday morning with Cody Rhodes, and Cody said, this is the day that professional wrestling changes. This is one of those historical days in the history of professional wrestling, and he was absolutely right. So I've been thinking maybe I should get some media credentials and start to jump on some of these media conference calls that NXT has and that AEW has. Just thinking about that, and maybe Dave the Ray, you could get the staff to maybe work on that. We have not tried that before. But this week really got me to thinking about customers, about clients, about how we react to our customers and our clients. And I've been reading online a lot of wrestling insiders talking about wrestling fans now. They usually call them marks. Now they're calling them smarks because they're much smarter and they can get much more educated about what's happening behind the scenes of professional wrestling. And it's almost as if the insiders are looking at smarks in a derogatory way. That maybe they're too smart for their own good. And this past week, and watching AEW, NXT, and of course I checked out Friday Night SmackDown, and I'm just going to be honest, once we got past The Rock, the rest of the show put me to sleep. I'm just being honest. I fell asleep watching the show. But let's go back to the smarks. It's almost derogatory, and I'm seeing independent wrestlers, and I'm seeing wrestlers who are on the big stage. I see them treating smarks almost as if they're beneath them. And that really got my wheels to turning as to how do we treat our customers? What do we think about our customers? You know, when I first broke into sales 30 years ago, and even going back to the days of my mother and father being in retail, there was an adage that went like this: the customer is always right. And being connected on digital media sites, I'm beginning to see, not just in professional wrestling, but in professional sales, that there is this attitude that maybe the customer isn't always right. And I've seen some comments and articles that are almost snarky. On the fact that the customer is not always right. Now look, I've been in sales long enough to know that the customer is not always right. But at the end of the day, the customer is always the customer. And whether they are a customer of yours depends on how you treat them when they think that they're right. I heard Tommy Dreamer on Busted Open say that when competition comes along, that Vince McMahon, who I have great respect for, but that Vince McMahon says that there's confusion in the marketplace. As a fan of professional wrestling, I wasn't quite sure how to take that comment. Is it a compliment or is it an insult? But I know this, as a consumer of professional wrestling, I believe I'm always right. Now again, the customer may not always be right, but they are always the customer. And whether they're your customer or not depends on how you treat them. So this is an article from Forbes.com written by Shep Hyken. It's called "Your Customers Are Not Always Right, But They Are Always the Customer." And jumping down to the middle of the article, Shep writes, in every customer interaction, you want to keep your desired end result in mind. That result is that the next time the customer needs whatever it is you sell, whatever it is that you provide, that they will come back to you. So no matter the situation, Shep says, finish strong. So when you sense that you have a problem, disagreement, or a complaint, focus on the end result, regardless of who's at fault. When the interaction is over, you want to leave the door open so the customer will feel comfortable enough to come back to you. That's treating the customer as if they are always right. Shep also writes, the customer is not always right, but they are the customer. So if they are wrong, let them be wrong with dignity and respect. Now, as a sales professional, this is crucial. As a sales professional, this can be the difference between you being successful or you failing. And yes, with 30 years of professional sales under my belt, there are times when I have made the mistake where I have not allowed the customer to be wrong with dignity and respect, and it's cost me business. I think this is a lesson that can be learned in professional wrestling. Again, reading some of the comments about how smart professional wrestling fans have become through digital media and digital platforms, I see professional wrestlers and some professional wrestling companies almost insulting their fans. And I think you can see that in the way that the fans are reacting. Now, I want to go back to NXT and AEW and what they're calling the Wednesday Night War. Again, when it came to the professional wrestling, I think both organizations did an outstanding job. I give more credit to AEW because they were on a much bigger stage and had a lot more to win or lose. And I don't think that, as I said earlier, the announcing team quite gelled with the live audience, with the TV audience, with the wrestlers, and with the action in the ring for NXT. And what little bit of the program that I watched, it was almost as if the announcers were insulting the viewer. That's just my opinion. I watched Ring of Honor yesterday, one of their taped programs, and the announcers that they have, I didn't even record their names. They were so bad. And they were so insulting to the intelligence of me, a professional wrestling fan. So are we always right? No. But if you don't let us be wrong with dignity and respect, this is what happens. On Wednesday night, after it was all said and done, the bean counter started to count the ratings of who watched what. And on Thursday afternoon, when the ratings were announced, AEW, a total package, registered 1.4 million viewers in their debut. It was the highest debuting program for TNT in the last 5 years. NXT, on the other hand, on the USA Network, pulled in about 860,000 viewers. You do the math. We, the fans, may not always be right, but we want to be treated with dignity and with respect. And as a sales professional, so do your clients. They may not always be right, but they are your client until they take their business to your competitor. Then they're not your client anymore. Treat them with dignity and respect, even when they're wrong. And with that, we're going to wrap up this, the 46th episode of Grunt to Groan, Sales Lessons Learned from Professional Wrestling. And I do want to just do a little shout out on our analytics. I get analytics from Podbean on this podcast, and we are, as you heard me say last week, now heard in over 17 countries, and we're pulling about 50,000 downloads. That's incredible. That just blows my mind. And I post the podcast on multiple digital platforms, And on one of those platforms, they track the analytics. So I just want to give a big shout out to the sales professionals and the sales management that are tuning in to this podcast from SC Johnson Professional USA. Thank you. From MSC Industrial Supply Company, thank you. From Nilfisk Advance, thank you. From my alma mater, Delaware Technical Community College, I want to thank the sales professionals who tune into this. I want to thank the sales professionals from the Middle Bay Corporation. And again, some of the great cities where sales professionals are downloading the podcast: Washington, D.C., Boston, Massachusetts, Chicago, Illinois, Charlotte, North Carolina, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, New York City, New York, Miami, Florida, Cleveland, Ohio. So thank you for downloading and listening to the podcast Grunt to Groan, Sales Lessons Learned from Professional Wrestling. Remember, you can email me at greatamericanThunder@gmail.com. You can connect with me on LinkedIn at Benjamin Burrows. Follow me on Twitter at Great American Thunder, at Real Ben Burrows. Check me out on Facebook at Benjamin Burrows. And remember, you are the Great American Thunder on which this nation rolls, because nothing happens until something is sold. So quit listening to me and get out there. Sell something.